Welcome back for one final time to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. In the previous episode, we, finished the main story. We stormed General Lonox's castle, faced down the Dark General himself, and then, with some difficulty, defeated his true form, a monstrous dark dragon. Then rescued the Oracle of Seasons herself, as you see, standing next to Link there, signifying we've completed the game. And now the land of Holodrum and its seasons have returned to their rightful order. Though, not without a cryptic message from a certain pair of witches implying their evil plan is already in motion. But that story will be continued in Oracle of Ages a while from now. For now, it seems there's still a little more in the land of Holodrum that we've yet to explore. Well, maybe not explore so much as check out. There are a few more secrets, Easter eggs, and etc. that we just never got around to showing during the main playthrough. And so in this little extra episode, we're going to be doing just that. Returning to the land of Holodrum drops us off right by the Maku tree, who's sleeping away as he wasn't before. Say, Link, as peace returns to Holodrum, so I return to peaceful rest. You see, there is more or less a post-game in Oracle of Seasons. As you can see, it's returned to spring here, and in fact, if we would, as we walk right over the dog, head over here, it's spring here as well instead of fall as it was before. You see, now in most of the land of Holodrum, it's back to permanent spring, well, sort of permanent spring, as it's supposed to be spring during the time when this game takes place. There are a couple exceptions, like that's not the right button. Like down in the Samasa Desert, it's still summer. Up in Goron Mountain and a couple other places far to the north, it's winter, as spring hasn't quite reached there yet. It's higher up, it's colder. And so, it gives reason to think this game actually takes place sometime in late March or early April, sometime around that. So that's just one of several ways that things have changed in the, what amounts to a post-game in this game. Off to Labrynna, this sign says. It seems Bippin and Blossom have packed up and moved to a different land entirely. As you probably remember, Labrynna is the location of Oracle of Ages. And so, their little story will continue if you link your save file over to an Oracle of Ages playthrough. But there are a few more interesting things. For one, Din's here in the village now. Yes, thanks to you, peace has come to the land of Holodrum. People are happy. Let us dance together again, Link. Impa received a letter from a homing pigeon and immediately traveled on to Labrynna in haste. Sounded a bit as if all is not well. What could be happening in Labrynna? I have a bad feeling about it. More allusions to a linked game. A princess named Zelda lives far away. I hope to meet her. I wonder if she dances as well as Din does. Remember her? The guardswoman disguised as a performer. I'm so glad the village is back to normal. But who changed the seasons around and why? Many, if not all, of the NPCs in the village now will say some different things. Now that the story is wrapped up, the seasons seem to have returned to normal. It's another gift from the town's guardian. Well, I helped. So, most importantly, you see, if we head over to the mayor's place... Oh, and we kind of forgot this gacha that existed. Let's check it out. There's a ring inside. Surprise, surprise. We'll get that appraised in a little bit. So here, it seems if you talk to Mayor Rule, he'll ask you if you need anything, and he'll ask you to input a secret. You see, yes, that's wrong because we didn't input anything. You see, that's odd. You see, if you carry your save file over into a link game in Oracle of Ages, during certain points in the game, you'll be able to talk to new NPCs that wouldn't otherwise appear in the game, that will give you secrets that have you deliver said secrets to various NPCs throughout a post-game land of Holodrum. You'll be able to obtain extra items and such that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise in a non-linked version of the game. And then you'll be able to carry those back to your Oracle of Ages playthrough to use there as well. Just one way that the two games interact when played in a various order. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I've only been running through here the entire length of the game. And so, that's not the only thing that's changed. Well, actually, you see, our next thing that we want to check out is something that we could have done at various points along the game, but now is as good a time to check it out as any. And while we're on our way there, you notice it is spring here as well instead of winter. While we're on our way there, worth mentioning that the fact that General Onox can turn into a dragon might have been a bit of a surprise, as well as his allegiance to Twinrova. But if you take a look at his official art, it does actually reference both of those things. You see, let's just take a second here to enter that Subrosia portal before I clog things up with the official art. You see, by the time you, lost my train of thought there for a second. You see, when you, if you take a close look at Onox's official art, you'll notice a couple things. For one, the Gerudo emblem is very prominent on his armor, alluding to the fact that he is working with a couple prominent members of the Gerudo tribe. And for two, his chest plate does kind of look like the head of a dragon, nodding to the fact that, well, he's a shapeshifter. But for now, we want to check out this guy. You remember the sign-loving Subrosian? We've broken 26 signs. He says we'll pay if we keep it up. Well, you see, if you break a certain number of signs, something will happen. But to do that, we have to leave and come back and destroy the sign a bunch of times. So we might be here a while. So in the meantime, I want to talk about a few other things related to Oracle of Seasons. Unused content. You see, just like any other video game of its type, there are some things that are worked on in development of the game that just didn't make it into the full version. First of all, there are a couple unused items in Oracle of Seasons' data. The first is, of all things, the long hook from Oracle of Ages. It was only partially implemented, the code is unfinished, and it's rather ambiguous whether the long hook was at one point intended to be used at some point in the game, or whether it was just a placeholder for a different item, or whether it was just dummy data that they eventually worked all the way into Oracle of Ages. Secondly, there's an unnamed item, unmarked item, that when equipped to a button, makes Link throw a punch when that button is pressed. One might think at first that that's the command used for the fist ring, the expert's ring, and the minigame when you're facing Blano in a boxing match, but it turns out none of them actually use that item command, and so its original purpose remains to be unseen. There are also a handful of unused tiles in the game data. First of all, is a single ground detail tile, a single circle of darker dirt, and this one actually does show up in the game in a few spots. However, every single time it appears, a Subrosia portal is placed on top of it, so you never actually see it. Secondly, there is also an unused Darknut statue in the cave tile set. This may be a carryover from Link's Awakening, as the engine from the Oracle games is built off the original Link's Awakening engine, and perhaps they were originally intending to use it at some point in the game, but just never found a place for it. Finally, there are a couple tiles that resemble the eyeball statues that appear at the entrance of all the dungeons, but in the perspective of a side-scrolling area. It seems these tiles were originally planned to be used to spruce up some of the side-scrolling areas aesthetically, but for whatever reason, it was decided they weren't going to be used. Finally, there are a couple pieces of unused music in the game's data. The first is a rather heroic theme. This was probably going to be used for some kind of scene or some kind of NPC's theme, but it never saw the light of day in the full game. The second is a more mysterious, jazzier sounding theme. This music's use is a little harder to guess. Perhaps it was going to be used for an NPC's theme, perhaps it was going to be used for some side area that never got into the main game. Perhaps it was going to be an alternate theme for the Subrosia dance hall or something. It remains to be seen what this piece of music was going to be used for. Although if I had to guess, I'd say it was probably going to be related to Subrosia in some way, since its overall style resembles the themes that are used in Subrosia. So, if you return to the sign-loving Subrosia and having broken 50 signs, something awful will happen if you don't quit, he says. No, we're not done yet. We gotta break 100 of them. I'll see you in several minutes. So once you've broken at least 90 signs, he says something different again. That's as far as you go! No more! Or else! Well, because we just like pushing this guy's buttons, we're gonna break 8 more. And so with 100 signs broken, let's talk to him again. Yeah, that one took a while. Broken 101 signs! Well, what can I say? I had to be sure. It's a baker's 100. It's pretty wonderful if you ask me. I warned you, but now, how could you be so cold? Prepare yourself! You'll pay! Surprised? You've learned your lesson now. You won't break any more signs. Take this ring to remind you of your mistake. Yeah, I had you going there for a second, didn't it? So we get a ring commemorating the fact that we, kind of rained all over his parade there. So let's stop by Vasu's and see just what this ring does. Do come in. Welcome to Vasu Jewelers. Yeah, you think you'd change your... Well, I guess, he is running a business and he'd have that, typical canned line you say to everyone who walks in, even if you know them. So we have the ring from the sign-loving Subrosian, as well as the one we picked up from the Gasha tree. Outside of, it's the fist ring. Okay, fist ring showed up from the ring we got from the tree outside of the mayor's place. But the sign-loving Subrosian gives us the sign ring, commemorative of 100 signs broken. Considering that's more or less an achievement, the fact that he gave that as an apparent punishment kind of misses the point, wouldn't you think? The ring does absolutely nothing, it's just a collectible. And so there is one more thing we can check out. It's a goofy little side event. And to do it, we're going to be heading over to Sunken City. You see, when we blew up the Great Moblins Fortress, they kind of moved into a nondescript house in Sunken City. Yeah. The poor Great Moblin, having to make bombs here. Yeah, we'll overcome these troubles and create a new tomorrow. Our great lair is in ruins. I have to start from scratch. Why did this happen to me? Well, considering you were harassing everyone who walked by and trying to force them to pay you to let them through safely, I don't really feel very sympathetic. You see, that's not all you can do in here, though. They have that stack of bombs there that they're presumably building to sell to get the money to buy a new fortress, or buy the materials to build a new one. But you can blow it up. And if you hang around long enough after you set the bombs off, the place goes sky high. And you with it. Yep, it's a non-standard game over. And while we're here, let's check out something in the File Select screen. You see, if you start a new file, attempt to bring a secret over from a cleared Oracle of Ages game, but for whatever reason, you decided to input all capital N's, that happens. A whole bunch of placeholders. Curiously enough, this only shows up in the North American version of the game, so if you want to run through a file that looks like that, I guess that's your prerogative. So we want to head back to Sunken City to see that the house is in ruins. But that's not all, that's not what I wanted to press. But that's not all we can do. You see, after a little bit of time, they will rebuild the house and we can harass them further. So let's wait a little bit. And so, after enough time has passed, they'll rebuild into a rather shoddier looking house and they'll be back. And they'll, say pretty much the exact same things. I guess they don't recognize, that's not the right button. I guess they... Oh, how many more bombs will it take to rebuild our lair? After what just happened, I've lost all... Wow, he does say something different. Okay. Well, you see, you don't necessarily have to die if you light these. Oh, by the way, you can also light them with ember seeds. If you get the hell out of there before the bombs blow, you can escape and watch them run away. Yeah, kind of mean, isn't it? But they'll still come back. And so if we go back to waiting even longer, the Silent Watch ain't got nothing on this. And so once you've killed enough enemies, explored enough screens, etc., they'll be back yet again. I guess they're just asking for punishment, aren't they? But if you light the pile of bombs a third time... Hee hee! So it was you! You'll pay! An eye for an eye! And they run out and throw you against the wall to accept your fate. Well, I guess that's one way to take care of a serial arsonist. And so, we end right where we began. I hope you guys have enjoyed this Let's Play. I certainly have. There have been a few more hang-ups than there were for previous projects. But I'm glad I was still able to see it through, and I hope you've enjoyed it. For now, I'm going to be working on a couple other side projects. The fireside discussion for this project. A couple other miscellaneous discussion videos that I've had in the works for a while. And I'm going to start some preliminary work on my next Let's Play. Hope you're looking forward to it. It's one that I've wished I was able to do for a while now. And so, I'll see you guys next time as it loops back over. And, as always, thanks for following along.